Hello, this is Dave Brixis with Explosive Sports Performance, EXSP.biz. And we're starting up a brand new show here called the EXSP Nation. And this is going out to everybody out there where we're going to be talking about what's happening in explosive sports performance. But not only that, but giving you guys different tips, drills, and things that you guys can use in the world of athletics so you guys can enhance your performance. And we're going to be doing this show once a week. We're also going to be having guests in. Some of my athletes, some of the EXSP athletes will be on. We'll be interviewing them, just talking to them about, where they are in their life, what they plan on doing, what's their future goals, what they're doing to achieve those goals at Explosive Sports Performance in the sports realm, but also outside of there as well. So we're going to be covering a whole bunch of different stuff here as we go along. This is the first edition here, and we're going to get right into it. We're going to be talking about, the big thing that's happening around sports right now is injuries. And there's different types of injuries out there, and one I wanted to get into, at least with this first show, is that ACL injury. There's probably somewhere roughly 20-some athletes in the NFL this year alone that have torn their ACL, which is a high number. But also not only there, but also in the central Pennsylvania area. I know a couple big athletes in this area have definitely torn their ACL. Football. One was a recruit going to Rutgers, Rob Martin, tore his in the first game. And the way you looked at it, I watched the video many, many times over. And nobody was around him. He went to make a cut, and he tore his ACL. And you talked to him right afterwards, as I heard him speak to a couple different people. He really didn't have any pain, really much swelling or anything like that. He thought he was fine. MRI confirmed that it was a tear of the ACL. So just because you're not having massive amounts of swelling or pain 10, 15, 20 minutes after doesn't mean you didn't tear your ACL or did other damage to the knee. A lot of times people who tear their ACL, it hurts immediately, hurts pretty painfully from what I understand, for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that they feel pretty good. A lot of them can walk off the field and stuff like that because you sever the nerves in there, so the pain dissipates pretty quickly. So that's one of the misconceptions with a lot of athletes and a lot of people out there as well. He can't have much damage because it doesn't hurt right now, or it's not that swollen. That's not always the case with an ACL. So one of the things we wanted to address is how to prevent this. And I think two different ways that I talked about it on my radio show too. Two different ways that we're not doing a great job of that as trainers, as people to mentor these young athletes, is we're not addressing the problem. Now, we can talk about females and tearing their ACLs. When I was a trainer 12, 15 years ago, when I worked in therapy, we talked about the hip angle of the females, being different. So they were at a higher risk of ACL injuries. But I think the males maybe still aren't quite to the level of the female, but they're quickly catching up with tearing ACLs in different sports. And I think you're finding out the athletes of today, much bigger, stronger, they're more explosive. So what we're doing is we're training these athletes to be so explosive, but we're not training them how to stop. We're not training them how to slow down, how to decelerate the body. I was reading an article by a gentleman who works with tons of baseball players, and he said, you can only throw as fast as you decelerate your arm. And you think about that for a second, he's exactly correct. You can only accelerate and throw as hard as you possibly can as fast as that body will allow you to slow it down. Okay? If I get in a car and I can go 200 miles an hour, but my brakes only work for 50 miles an hour, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. Something's going to happen. You're going to do damage, and that's usually what happens if you get in a car that can only brake at 50 miles an hour and you're going at 200. You're going to do damage, just like with the arm, just like with the legs and the ACL. You're going to do damage if we can't slow our bodies down. So we got to train the deceleration phase of that body. And I did 4 videos that I put up on our YouTube page, which is EXSP 2381, the EXSP Nation, that you guys can go look at, taking it step by step of how to decelerate, how to teach deceleration. Another way is with the hamstring strengthening. We don't work our hamstrings hard enough. Yeah, we do squats that get deep, maybe some of us, or we do some deadlifts, or we do some Romanian or stiff-legged deadlifts. But in this case, I like to sometimes isolate those hamstrings. I really think they need to be worked a little bit harder than what we perceive. And I'm not a fan of laying down on a machine and doing leg curls. I'm not a fan of that at all. If I'm going to lay down and do it on my stomach, I'm going to do bands. I'm going to do a good band routine where I'm doing both legs quick, slow, trying to really fire that muscle throughout the time that the EXP Nation's on here. You'll be able to see some of these exercises that we'll perform. But one of the ones we like to really do is we like to get with our TRX or suspension systems and do a bridge. We'll put our heels, we'll lay on our back, bend our knees, we'll put our heels in the stirrups, and then we'll bridge ourselves up, squeezing it when we get to the top, holding it for like a second, 2 seconds, dropping back down, and then going right back up. And what we're looking for there is keeping our legs together, not quite touching, but together, not as we come up, they start to wail out. And you'll start to see this with some of your athletes that are weak. They'll come up, they'll bridge up, and as they bridge up, their knees will go out. We don't want that. We want our knees to come straight up, our legs to come straight up, and go straight back down. Straight up, straight back down. So that's what we're looking for, with our athletes, to make sure they do everything properly. And not only when they get all the way up to they fire those hamstrings, which they are doing, they're going to fire those glutes. And that's a huge key that we need, is to make sure those glutes are fired, ready to go. And we're going to be talking about them big time in the next couple weeks here, about our glute weakness in this country and athletes and everybody in general, as well as our hip tightness. I think these are two areas, throw in the third one is the hamstrings, that are destroying a lot of athletes and causing a lot of injuries. Not only that, but also causing injuries with some adults, where they're just too tight, they're not mobile enough, and their glutes are just too weak because we're sitting too much. Just sitting way too much at our job, at school, whatever it is. We need to get up, we need to become more active, and that's what we're going to try to address some of these situations. So there are the couple different things we're going to do. I want you guys to definitely watch the video on this, on the hamstring work that we're going to show you guys with the TRX, the suspension system. And then also, what we're also going to have in this segment is we're going to be interviewing one of our athletes. And they're going to be going through some of the stuff that we spoke about earlier, some of their goals, what's it like working at EXSP, how long they've been here and training with us. I mean, we've had some great success stories. One of the big success stories is Lower Dolphins football team that we worked with for the past 2 years. Before we got there, coming in to help out Coach Clock over there, who's done a magnificent job in turning that program around, as well as the athletes and the other coaches have done a phenomenal job. Just 2 years ago, they were 1-9. They were coming off back-to-back 1-9 seasons. I think right before that, they had 2 seasons that they were 3-7 or 4-6. So they weren't looking too hot. They came in, we came in with understanding with Coach Clock that, hey, this is what we need to do to build this program. He brought some other coaches in that definitely have helped enhance that, have done a phenomenal job. And last year they made the playoffs at 8-2, losing in the first round of the districts. And this year, probably the surprise team of Central PA, if not the state so far, winning the district title at the Quad A level, being 13-1, and just winning this past weekend, knocking off Cumberland Valley. So I got to give a big shout out to those guys. All the credit goes to them, their hard work, their belief in what we wanted to accomplish with them. The coaches, myself, we wanted them to achieve more than what they thought they could achieve. There's no true superstar on the team. Yeah, they got great players, and they got a couple Division I athletes, but there's no true superstar, because you know why? They play as a team. They play together as a team, they work together as a team, and they just grind it out as a team. And that's what I like to see. And that's what hopefully a lot of teams out there that maybe don't have the superstar can understand and appreciate, that, hey, you can still be good, you can still win titles, but you got to work together. And this is what this group of individuals do. They came together, they work, they understand their roles, they play their roles extremely well. They don't go outside their roles, they do the roles that they're supposed to do, and then they excel at those roles, and everybody plays a role that they're supposed to do. And that's what I got to do. I also got to give a shout out to the Bishop McDevitt Crusaders, my alumni. That's awesome. Those guys are also headed back. They won the District 3 AAA title. They're headed back out to play Erie Cathedral Prep this Friday, so good luck to them as well. Got a lot of athletes that I trained from there as well. And every other athlete out there, all the guys that are getting ready for basketball. I know basketball, I think, starts up this weekend with tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So we wish you guys all the best. Make sure you continue to watch. You're going to see the interview. You're going to see a couple exercises we're going to do. But this is Dave Brixius, and this is the EXSP Nation. This is Dave Brixius with the EXSP Nation, our weekly video show, just to keep you updated with everything here. And this is the exercise we're going to be performing this week. We talked about it earlier in our other segment about the ACL and the tear and how we can strengthen. This is just one of the exercises we utilize to help our athletes continue to strengthen their hamstrings, their glutes, make them stronger all around. All right, we have our suspension system. All right, we got a couple different types. Some of our homemade ones, some jungle gyms, some different ones that we have, and we love using all of them. You know, we just get the great variation out of them. But what you're going to do is you're going to have the stirrups here. So these are what I call the stirrups, right, the lower part of this. And what you're going to do is you're going to lay down. We're going to put our heels in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bridge ourselves up. And remember what I focused on when I talked about is not letting those knees buckle out, go out like this. They're coming straight up, hold a second or two, and then back down. And here I'm going to demonstrate for you. All right, so we're down. Our knees are bent. We're laying down, and we're pushing straight up, squeezing, 1, 2, and then back down. Just touch, getting up nice and high, squeeze 1, 2, and back down. Really concentrating on pushing up with those hamstrings. All right, so we're really pushing up, keeping those legs as close together as possible, and then back down. Then when we're done, just taking the legs out. Now we want to make sure when you do that, we're doing usually typically with some of our new athletes, maybe 10 reps. I mean, they'll feel those, trust me. When I tell you that, they'll feel them. Usually what we have our athletes do is after the 10 reps, we'll have them get up, move a little bit so they just don't stay down, stretch out with the hamstrings, and then go back down and finish up whatever amount of sets they have, whether it's 2 more left, 1 more, 3, whatever. But we usually start out with usually about 10 reps, 2 to 3 sets. We really want to hit those because we usually give them some other different hamstring exercises. But that's one of the basic ones that we do. You can vary that up. Just say you don't have access to one of these at home or wherever you're at. Not a problem. You can use a bench. Do the same exact thing. Just put your feet up on a bench. Bridge your butt up. Main idea is to squeeze, hold, and you're going to see the same results. All right? Let me know how that goes. You guys got any comments, questions, please leave them. Send it to EXSP@Verizon.net. Go to our Facebook page, Explosive Sports Performance, or definitely subscribe to our YouTube page, which is EXSP2381 or the EXSP Nation. All right? So make sure you guys get on that as well so you guys can follow us, see what we're doing, see all the things, all the past ones that you might miss. I know this is the first one, but we'll be doing one every week, interviewing some different athletes as well. All right? So you guys keep working hard. Questions, comments, send them. Love to hear from you guys. Keep making sure you guys unleash that potential. Hello, this is Dave Brixes with Explosive Sports Performance, EXSP.biz, and I'm here with my man Jake Arts. Jake Arts, great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it today on the EXSP Nation video show here. Jake, one of the things we like to do on the show is feature one of our athletes. One of our athletes that definitely put in a lot of time, worked hard, improved themselves. And you're definitely one of those guys, you know. I remember you coming here, scrawny little tiny kid coming here years ago, starting up. And now you definitely worked your way in, where last year as a 10th grader, you know, getting your chance to play varsity baseball. Where a lot of people didn't think you might not have the shot of playing varsity or even starting, you actually worked hard enough to get yourself to that point. So why don't you let some of the people know, you know, what some besides baseball, have you ever played any other sport growing up when you were little?
When I was a little kid, I played basketball. I played a year or two of soccer, just recreationally.
Okay.
Nothing really big though.
Did those sports help you out play baseball? I mean, were you just doing them just to do them, or was you always your first love baseball?
I was just doing them to do them. Have something to do over the winter time when I wasn't playing baseball, but baseball was always my first love since I was 5 years old.
That's awesome. You know, you gotta love that. Some of the other things, you know, some of your work ethic that definitely comes into play. I know a lot of people have mentioned it to me, as well as I know people have definitely said stuff to you. But your desire, I mean, you travel a lot for baseball. It's not just, hey, I play high school baseball. And I know a lot of other kids travel and they do a lot of those other things to be seen. It's not like it was probably when I was growing up. Your parents were growing up, my parents were growing up 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago. You know, it's pretty much become, if you want to be seen, you need to get out there on the AAU circuit, the travel team circuit, all that kind of stuff. So tell me what some of the other teams that you play for, where you've been, who you played for, what you've been in front of.
I played for the Evo Shield Canes. That was 2 falls ago that I played for them.
Okay.
I've been playing for the Mid-State Mavericks out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania since I was 11 years old, so about 5 years now.
Okay.
And right now I'm probably going to go to a tryout for the PA Rookies team out of Scranton, PA.
Good. Awesome. That's some of the places you've gone. I think you've been out to Omaha, if I'm not mistaken, this past summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Omaha and Florida for the Under-Armour baseball.
Okay. And you played in front of, weren't you at the college where they usually play the College World Series?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the field
Yeah.
you played on? So you had a lot of experiences traveling, doing all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
Now, coming to EXP, how long has it been since you've been coming here? When did you first come?
I started May of my 7th grade year, so I was 12 years old.
All right. And how old are you now?
I'm 16 years old.
There you go. So 4 years, just about 4 years now, he's been coming to EXP. Definitely a huge transformation that he has put on. Definitely has done some great things working out. What are some of the things you like about EXP?
Probably my number one is everybody here wants to be here, has a hard work ethic. It's a really friendly environment for everybody, and you come up with some of the greatest workouts I've ever taken part in. So.
Yeah. And when I come up with the workouts, it's all tailored towards, these athletes and how hard they're willing to push themselves. So I have to gauge it on. Jake's the kind of guy that's willing to go the distance. As you can see, he's in a tank top. It's probably about 20-some degrees outside, and the wind chill makes it like 15. And that guy gets outside and still does some workouts. He's out there the whole time? No, but he's still there. And you can call him crazy, whatever. The kid's dedicated. He wants to improve. He wants to continue on past high school. What are some of your goals past high school?
Definitely playing college baseball. I've already had multiple colleges contact me, so there's a 100% chance that I am playing in college, whether it be Division 1, 2, or 3. So.
Good. There's nothing wrong with whatever division you play. I always tell a kid, out of all the high school athletes in the United States, only about 10% will move on and play college, whether it's Division 3, 2, 1, NAIA, whatever it is, have that opportunity. So anybody who does, don't knock Division 3. Well, I'm not playing Division 1, whatever. That's okay. If you can continue to play, that's a big advancement. You're well ahead of a lot of other athletes out there that stop after high school. They either can't hack it or they don't like it anymore. I know Jake's such a passionate guy about baseball. Like I said, he's traveled all over. He's done a lot of those types of things. Name, coming here at XP, what's one of your favorite exercises? One exercise that stands out. And, tell them, and if you have to explain it, go into explaining it.
Okay. Probably my favorite exercise would be the pull-ups on the walking board outside. They have a big pegboard pull-up machine outside that they've drilled holes into, and you use little PVC pipes, and you can plug them in the holes and do pull-ups or climb up to the top and climb down, which is my favorite part. Because that's core, shoulders, biceps, everything, stability. So I like that. That's probably my favorite.
Excellent. And that was one of my my colleagues actually did that up for us. Andrew Hollenbach, he's the one who put it all together for us, drilled it in outside, so these kids could have some kind of advancement outside and work hard, not only inside. And that's what ESP, it's not just an inside facility like a lot of these other ones. We try to make it as tough for these kids as possible because, life isn't always about, the comforts of being inside in the heated gym in the winter. Sometimes you got to go outside. I mean, look at football. Just this past weekend, you saw all those games played in the snow.
Yeah.
What if those guys only played in the heated domes? You have a big time, disadvantage. So we try to get these guys in all the different elements. I know when you start up baseball in March, come around here, it's still cold.
Oh, yeah.
Last year it was cold all the way into May.
Oh, yeah.
There was games in April that I think sometimes were colder than they were in March.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was sleet, some snow
wind
coming
chill.
down. Yeah, the wind. So we try to get these athletes not only acclimated to the exercises they're going to do and the demands of the sport, but also the environment. We can't control the environment. Yeah, if we had a nice dome and everybody played in the dome, maybe. But we try to get these athletes outside as much as possible. He was just outside after our snowstorm we had here, a couple inches and some ice, with one of his fellow baseball colleagues here, and Julian Barry, and they're outside doing drills outside for about 10, 15 minutes, somewhere around there, getting it in, and they just keep pushing themselves. And that's why I wanted to feature him first. This is the first episode we're doing. I really wanted to feature Jake because of his hard work, his dedication, where he's come from to make himself where he's at now. And he just continues to push himself, continues to work hard. And that's the difference. This is why this is why I do it. I work with athletes because of guys like Jake and all the other athletes that I have at EXSP, and you'll see a lot of them throughout our video series here, that they just have something inside of them. They wouldn't be here. Let's be honest. A lot of kids that would come in, or a lot of kids won't come in because of, you got to have a mindset. The other trainers and myself, we push you. We push you because guess what? We want to make it as hard on you as possible, so when you get in those game situations, guess what? They're easy.
Yeah.
A lot of guys don't want to push. A lot of guys want to make it, be your buddy, be your best friend. Not us. We want to make sure that these guys are prepared, ready to go, and that's what the difference is when you step in the door at EXSP. Just some final thoughts about, this upcoming season. It's about 3-4 months away before you start up here.
Yeah.
What are your goals for upcoming season? It's going to be your junior year. It's a big year for you.
Oh, yeah.
What do you have in planned?
Well, our high school team, Central Dauphin, we're hoping to make a run at states this year. We got a lot of good arms. There's probably about 5 or 6 guys that actually come in here, and we're starting to work out as a team after Christmas break. So I've talked to Dave about that, and we've got it all planned out. We're hoping to eradicate some softness so we can be the strongest and mentally toughest team out there when we play some of those teams. And for summer, as far as it goes, hoping to go to some college camps, a lot of showcases, going down to, actually just this January, I'm going down to Arizona for the Under Armour All-American Baseball Classic. So.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. This is the dedication that we have here at EXSP. Jake's one of them. Jake's just one of a handful of athletes that definitely puts in their time, definitely works it out. Make sure you watch the rest of the video. As you will see, as you guys have probably seen, we talked about ACL in this episode, about the ACL tears, especially, you know, with the football players and all that kind of stuff, and some of the exercises you can do to help you get better. But also follow us on YouTube at EXSP2381. Follow us on our Facebook page. You can see pictures of Jake out in the snow, some of the other colleagues that are there. We'll always get kids out there definitely doing some crazy things, safe things, but crazy things to really push them not only physically but mentally. So I appreciate it, Jake. Thanks for coming out. Thank you so much for being here. Always helping out and supporting EXSP. Definitely appreciate it. You guys out there, continue to follow us, continue to work hard, and make sure you unleash that potential.
EXSP Nation, guys.